Islam, Islamism. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ever seeking refuge from the accursed Satan with the name of and in the name of Allah. This is your brother, Ramel Hyacinth Ill, rising to our highest heights, giving all perfect praises to our Mother, Father, God, Allah. Extending those honors to all our ancestors, those we speak of, those we don't, all those we will be ancestors of, to all our true and divine prophets, naming and highlighting Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and time, the honorable, illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Drew Ali. I extend those honors to all those on the call, all our members, guests, brothers and sisters, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, divine ministers, and of course, under the leadership and guidance of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, we always give honors to him as well. Honors to everyone on the call, and we greet you. This is our Moorish National Town Hall conference call. And as we will open this meeting, as we open all our meetings, in prayer. So those who can, please stand facing the east in our Moorish American posture, with our heels touching, feet separated at a 45-degree angle, arms parallel to the floor, your forearms perpendicular, making a 90-degree angle with your elbow. 2 fingers together and erect on your right hand, the 4 fingers and your thumb together and erect on your left, as we say our Moorish American prayer. Allah, Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is our protector, our guide, and our salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Islam. This is your brother, Sheikh Ramel Hyacinth Ill. And once again, this is our National Town Hall conference call from the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic. Islam. Today's date is calendar year, subhanAllah, March 13th, 2022, according to the Gregorian calendar. And at this time, we will continue with our first administrative announcement. Islam. Please start, unmute your phone.
Islam,
Sheikis, you have the floor.
Islam, Sheikh, thank you very much. Praying that you and the family are doing well.
Islam, all is truly well with me and the family, and I'm trusting all is well with you and yours, Islam.
Indeed, giving thanks. Islam. Islam family, I am Sheikis Carolyn Youngday, calling out of the Wayne County, North Carolina Republic. I will be giving our first administrative announcement for the Sunday night conference call. But first, I rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praises and honors to our God, our Father God, Allah. I give honors to all of our ancestors, known and unknown, to all true and divine prophets, naming and recognizing Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our Redeemer, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I extend my honors to the forerunner for noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosiah Ghali, and to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, to all national officials, to the sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, brothers and sisters, visitors, guests, and parents, and students in our Sunday school, and everyone on the call, I greet you all with Islam. On behalf of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, I would like to thank the guests that are on this Moorish Town Hall meeting for joining us this evening. Our prophet, noble Drew Ali, founded the ancient Canaanite temple in 1913 in Essex County, New Jersey. Later, in 1916, his missionary work was entitled The Moorish Divine and National Movement. In 1917, he transferred the movement to Cook County, Illinois. In 1925, the temple was called the Moorish Temple of Science. In 1926, the temple was incorporated as a civic organization. In 1927, the temple was unofficially adopted as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Our prophet, Noble Drew Ali, stated that the Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that it is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. After lawfully connecting with the private international law of the Pan American Conference in 1928, the temple's name was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The temple was then incorporated as a religious organization under the Illinois Revised Statutes in Cook County, giving the temple and its members national and international power. During this same period of time, unfaithful members of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago and Detroit conspired to destroy the positive existence of the movement, causing great confusion. This is the reason for the misunderstanding of the national side of the movement amongst all Moorish Americans until this very day. Our prophet Noble Drew Ali stated that Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they did to I, your prophet. Afterwards, in 1929, our prophet Noble Drew Ali made his transition to the plane of souls. Our purpose of establishing this meeting on Sundays is to properly educate people on what the Negro problem really is, and to educate people concerning the national side of the movement of our prophet Noble Drew Ali, so that you may receive a clear understanding of it. Our prophet Noble Drew Ali also stated, "Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes." In other words, all calling themselves Negroes, Black people, colored folk, Afro-American, Latino, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and any other such name, that delude to slavery, you are not these. Your nationality has been taken away from you, and your birthright have been stolen from you by way of your original birth certificate, Social Security card, and your state ID/driver's license, which is why clear color copies, both front and back, from these is required from you when applying for Moorish American citizenship, as you transform from your lower self to your higher self while working towards your actual freedom and becoming free national Moorish American citizens. You have ignorantly contracted into the jurisdiction of the federal U.S. government corporation. Thus, your nationality is United States. You have surrendered your free national state citizenship by registering yourself voluntarily as a beneficiary of the U.S. government corporation by way of your birth certificate, which is an unrevealed trust account instrument placing you in commerce with the federal U.S. Federal U.S. citizens are not citizens at all. They are subjects and property of the District of Columbia, residents and franchise of the so-called bankrupt U.S. government corporation under municipal law. The Constitution for the U.S.A., the Bill of Rights, and the 13th Amendment with 20 sections does not apply to federal U.S. citizens. Federal U.S. citizens are subjects and property under the statutory admiralty and maritime law, as well as martial law under the undisclosed presumption of an international contract. Federal U.S. citizens have no constitutional protections or unalienable rights. They only have granted privileges by the U.S. government corporation. Legal persons born or naturalized in the federal U.S. were made exclusively by the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. The 14th Amendment was never lawfully ratified and therefore unconstitutional. Our Prophet Noble Drew Ali held up the red flag with the five-pointed green star in the center in his right hand. This is our national flag. It is poorly misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. It is properly comprehended as the Moorish flag. He also held up the 48-star flag of the U.S.A. in his left hand. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union under the Republican form of government in this country. The 50-star flag of the U.S. with gold fringes around it does not represent free national Moorish Americans. Social Security benefits and the income tax are voluntary contracts made mandatory for federal government employees and U.S. citizens who receive benefits from the federal government corporation. Asiatics are the Aboriginal indigenous inhabitants of America. However, due to the fact that the Asiatics' birthrights have been stolen and we have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government being placed in chattel property status because of the reorganization of the U.S. and the New Deal in 1933, the Asiatics are now aliens, not to this country, but to all free national government. We encourage everyone to become a naturalized Moor and register with the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics in order to become part and parcel of this free national government. In this way, you are under the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, being under the jurisdiction of the Emancipation Proclamations of President Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and not under federal jurisdiction, making your identity and your nationality Moorish American. The bankruptcy of the United States is a fraud. The Uniform Commercial Code administers this fraudulent bankruptcy. So those who undergo the UCC-1 financing statement and its further paperwork applications become a party to this fraud and disconnect themselves from the divine authority of our Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which is the conspiracy of the international banking cartel against us Moorish Americans. Also, having a seat in the United Nations is a trap. This places you under the control of the cartels of Europe as well. Furthermore, a government that is a democracy is a trick because this type of government is not of the common people, for the common people, nor by the common people. Educating the masses on these issues in order for the Asiatics to become functionally active is of the utmost importance for the progress and growth of the Moorish divine and national movement. For more information, visit our website at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. During this meeting, we would like our guests to remain muted if you are not speaking. This will prevent background noise coming from you as these calls are being recorded. When you want to speak, press the star key twice to unmute your phone and state your name and where you're calling from. All questions are submitted prior to each Sunday night call and therefore supersedes direct questions from the audience. You may submit your questions to our email at townhall@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and all questions will be answered in the order in which they are received. We would like our guests to continue to attend these meetings, and please invite your family members, associates, and friends to attend these meetings as well. This concludes our first administrative announcement. I'll return the floor to the moderator. Islam Sheikh, you have the floor. Islam.
Islam, thank you very much, Sheikhs, for that administrative announcement. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be from our Sunday school. Islam, please start, unmute your line.
Islam Sheikh Kunal Hyson Ill, all is well.
All is well, Deputy Sheikh is Carla Greenhill. All is well, trusting all is well with you and the family.
Islam, all is well.
Praise Allah, Islam. You have the floor, sister.
Islam, and thank you much. Islam family, this is your sister Deputy Sheikah, Carla Green Eel, from the Massachusetts Commonwealth. First, I rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praises to Allah. I give honor to our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form, extending honors to our National Grand Sheikh Joel Bratton Bey, all of our national and local officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, all of our children, students, members, guests, and citizens, I greet you all with Islam. The Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, expects the presence of all members and invites the public to join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Moorish Sunday School conference call. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. That's 443-961-4434. All Moors currently naturalized through the Moorish American National Republic and who have not already done so are requested to forward an email to manrssundayschool@gmail.com. That's manrssundayschool@gmail.com. This will confirm your registration and allow you to receive your information packet. Please include the names of all children, their ages, birth dates, and school grades. Also, we are requesting that members send us family pictures for posting on our website. Pictures of Moorish families studying, playing, working, etc., and in unity. This is highly desirable. Please be advised that submission of your photo constitutes your permission to post. To submit your photo, send via email to sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. The Moorish American National Republic Sunday School conference call is at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we invite the public to please join us by calling 443-961-4434. Again, 443-961-4434. We had an uplifting and powerful class today. You can listen to today's call at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. That is moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. We look forward to exercising our five senses together with you, manifesting guidance for our nation. Islam and peace.
Islamism. Our next administrative announcement will be from our Moorish School of Law and History. Islam,
Sheikh.
Islam, Deputy Sheikh, continue. You have the floor.
Islam family, again, this is your sister, Deputy Sheikah Carla Green Eel from the Massachusetts Commonwealth, ever rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to Allah. Please remain muted for this very important announcement. Peace and greetings. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, requires from everyone desiring to proclaim their Moorish American nationality to fill out and complete an application for Moorish American citizenship, and 3 course registration forms for each of the Moorish law and history courses, which I'll explain later. Many people question, why do we have to fill out paperwork and submit copies of our personal documents? This is the reason. We must know who you are, your background, previous affiliations, work history, physical abilities, education, skill, training, etc. First of all, these documents do not belong to you. They belong to the federal government. So you must remember that in their jurisdiction, you are an artificial corporation under civil rights and granted privileges. Secondly, we require these documents because once you are a free national Moorish American citizen, your file will be in the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, which is set up for each natural person. These Moorish documents that you'll be receiving at the time of your naturalization are prepared from these documents. The most important page in the application is the self-audit page. This allows you to make sure you know the appropriate attire to wear during naturalization and are submitting the required documents, fees, and photos. The documents must be clear colored copies for clarity and authenticity. The photos must be passport size. We use the photos for your nationality and ID card. Please have your national and religious headdress on and write your name on the back of the photos. The application process is reviewed each week because applications are received in the National Register's office either with incomplete applications, no photos, or no documents. If a question on the application does not apply to you, place N/A, not applicable. This lets us know that you did read the question but did not omit it. We must read and follow instructions and learn to ask questions if we do not comprehend what is being said. The second part of the process is enrolling into the Moorish School of Law and History by registering for the 3 courses with the following completed forms. 1, a warning from the Prophet class form. 2, be it known class form. 3, nationality and ID card class form. 4, course rules and agreement form. Visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and download the application and registration forms. These forms will have the full instructions, requirements, and prerequisites for the classes. Also, mail with your application an updated copy of your resume. You are not paying for your nationality. Your nationality is free of charge. You are paying for the cost of enrolling in the Moorish School of Law and History, just as one pays tuition when enrolling into a college or a university. The costs are also directed to the application processes of the preparation of your documents, as you'll receive these once you've completed the courses. It takes finances to raise a nation, and it takes finances to maintain and operate an educational forum. This concludes the administrative announcement by way of the Moorish School of Law and History. I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam, and thank you for that administrative announcement. Our Deputy Sheikh is calling me ill. Islam, Islam, Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming from our Sergeant at Arms, Islam. Will be our warning announcement, Islam.
Islam there, Sheikh, Romeo, Hayes, and Ill. All is well with you and the family?
All is truly well with me, Deputy Sheikh. Trusting all is well with you and the family.
All is truly well with me and the family. Good to hear your vibrations tonight.
Alhamdulillah, good to be heard, and it's wonderful to hear you as well, my good brother. You have the floor, Deputy Sheikh.
Thank you much, Sheikh. Much honor and gratitude. Deputy Sheikh, Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, to all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken, naming and honoring all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, our great Redeemer, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I also like to extend those honors to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13, our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, to all our national officials, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and to all our family, friends, guests, citizens, members, students, and our illustrious future, our children, I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement is coming by way of our Sergeant at Arms Administration. Warning, if any persons, groups, or companies claiming to represent the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, in any way are offering to sell you such things as the application for Moorish American citizenship, naturalization paperwork, nationalization paperwork, trust documents with the Moorish American National Republic's logos, passports, diplomatic appointments, diplomatic papers, diplomatic motor vehicle license plates, driver's licenses, titles of nobility, doctorates or other educational titles, business banking licenses, tax shelters, tax identification cards, or the likeness of any of these, please contact the Moorish National Bureau of Investigation at area code 410-501-7301. I repeat, area code 410-501-7301. Immediately. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The members and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic are not sovereign citizens, nor Moorish nationals. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is not, I repeat, is not a sovereign citizens movement. This administrative announcement comes by way of our Solicitor General, National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey. And that concludes the reading of this administrative announcement. Islam there, Sheikh Romeo Hayes and Ill. The floor is yours. Islam?
Islam, thank you for that announcement, Deputy Sheikh Michael Simpson Ill Jr. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be our Cavet Emptor. Islam, Sheikhs, if you're on the line, please start unmute your line.
Islam Sheikh, all is well?
All is truly well, beloved. Trusting all is well with you and your family.
Yes, all is well.
Islam. You have the floor, Sheikhs. Islam.
Giving thanks, Sheikh. Islam, this is your sister, Sheikhs Alyssa Thomas Bey, calling out of the Kings County, New York Republic. First, I'd like to rise. I give all perfect praises to Allah, all of the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius. Our prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I give honors to our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bey. I give honors to all of our national officials, all of our sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, members, citizens, students, children, and guests. I greet you all with Islam. Notice to the public, let the buyer beware. Caveat emptor, Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest heights for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads, like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and scurrilous cuttings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the prophet, knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk
where traders grin and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road as the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on the pinnacle, where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caviar emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, pervious at worst that exist, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. By Prophet Noble Drawling. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, advises the public with the words of the warning written by Prophet Noble Drawling. The Cabinet Emptor article message is the same today in 2022 as when written in 1928. We have been contacted by various natural persons who have sent funds to individuals and organizations, said funds paying for various documents. Said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Be herein advised, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, does not sell documents of any type. Again, we do not sell documents. Again, be here notified that said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with our organization, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Some of said organizations have mirrored names which read closer to ours. Therefore, pay close attention to whom it is you are sending your funds, as the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, carries no liability for funds sent to these individuals and organizations. There may be others, yet the three I'm about to list have repeatedly been cited by those natural persons as the parties to whom funds were sent under guise of sending said funds to our organization. 1. R.V. Bay Publications. 2. The Moorish National Republic, the federal government, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and 3. Bureau of Moorish Affairs, Moorish State University. We will update this list as necessary. Trustly, the public is advised, let the buyer beware. That concludes my administrative announcement. I return the floor to the moderator, Islam and Peace.
Islam. Thank you for that administrative announcement. Our caveat emptor, Islam. Our next administrative announcement will come from our Holy Night. Will come about our Holy Night call. So, Islam Deputy Shikas, if you're on the line, please start, unmute your line. Islam Deputy Shikas, are you with us to make your announcements? Or someone designated to make the announcements for the Deputy Shikas for the Holy Night and the Women's Auxiliary meeting? Please start, unmute your line and check your personal mute on your phone. Islam. Islam.
I wasn't designated, but I do have the sister auxiliary announcement if you would like me to read that after the Holy Night.
Islam, please. I'll make the Holy Night announcement. Islam, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, invites family, friends, guests, members, all who do not have a temple in their area or cannot make it to their temple in their area or due to certain restrictions cannot get to their temple or their temple has suspended or not having meetings. And even if you would like to just visit on our call, we invite you as well to our Friday Holy Night call, which is held each and every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, Islam, every Friday at this number, 443-961-4434. That's 443-961-4434. If you would like to join us online, by web, the link is on our website, Moorish American National Republic, under the Resources tab, under Holy Night, Resources Holy Night, Islam. This is each and every Friday where we go through our holy books, which is the Circle 7 Quran, or the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple, and we study these writings from our prophet compiled into this pamphlet and learn about these divine instructions and how to apply them to our daily lives and manifest these teachings. Islam. That's every Friday, our National Holy Night call at 443-961-4434. Islam. I yield the floor. Islam, Deputy Sheikis Green Ill. Islam, would you mind giving the Sisters Auxiliary call, please? Announcement.
Yes, Islam.
Please, thank you.
Islam family, this is your sister, Deputy Sheikis Carla Green Ill. I rise into my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to Allah. Islam. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is delighted to announce our upcoming conference call dedicated to the uplift of Moabitist members of this divine and national movement under the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, and the nobles of our grand body. Our conference call's purpose is to create a network system amongst our feminine energy, showcasing the array of talents we, the sisters in this body, have to offer. We are calling on every sister in our organization to heed this call, partake in this uplifting act, and be an active spoke in the wheel of this Moorish Republic. Come and familiarize yourself with your sisters and reap the benefits of membership of this national body that is committed to bring about the positive change necessary to facilitate the uplifting of fallen humanity. We encourage our sisters to get involved and support this demonstration. The Moorish American National Republic Sisters Auxiliary is requesting the help and support of all our brothers and sisters to donate to our fundraising Life Pin and Tag Day celebration demonstration. Show pride in your movement and support the Sisters Auxiliary as we assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity by donating $1 for a Life Pin, $3 for a tag, and $5 for a magnet. All three are designed to inspire, unite, and encourage dialogue about this great movement and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali. This Moorish regalia can be viewed on our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Simply type in Sister Auxiliary in the search option. If you're interested in joining the Sister Auxiliary, or any member wishing to order regalia, to send an email to sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. That's SISTERAUXILIARY13@gmail.com. Please make note of your request in the subject line, whether it's membership, life pens, tags, or magnets. Please give your contact information, including your email and phone number. Our next meeting will be held March 25th, 2022. Thank you for your support. Islam and peace.
Islam. Thank you for that administrative announcement, Deputy Sheikis Carla Green Ill. Islam. Our next, subhanAllah. At this time, we will open the floor for any other announcements from any other national officials. Islam, please start unmute your line, state your name, where you're calling from.
Islam.
Islam, Sheikh.
Islam, Chief. How are you and your family?
All is well, Sheikh Young Bay. Trusting all is well with you and yours and the Moabites Islam, who we just finished hearing from a moment ago.
Islam, well, I'm blessed by the best.
Islam.
Islam. I'm Sheikh Lawrence Young Bay, National Treasurer and Divine Minister out of Wayne County, North Carolina, Republic. First, I rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praises to Allah and honors to all his ancestors. Some we know of, some we don't. To all our true and divine prophets, just to name a few: Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our Savior, our Redeemer, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Jew Allah in the first, second, and the third form. I extend my honors to the forerunner for noble Jew Allah, Marcus Mosaic Garvey, and to our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bay, and to the Grand Body, to the Sheikhs, Sheikesses, Deputy Sheikhs, Deputy Sheikesses, brothers, sisters, and parents, and students in our Sunday school, and everyone on the call. I greet you with love and Islam, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. This administrative announcement is to the members. Keeping in line with Act 7 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. When mailing your dues payment, please include your dues card with your payment. Make a copy of your dues card and keep it home for your records. Members should not fill in any information on their dues card. Headquarters will make all entries and initial the dues cards. Payments received will be automatically applied to any past due balances first until your account is brought current. Officers, sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikhs, deputy sheikesses are required to pay $35 a month. Members are required to pay $20 a month. Also, if you change your address, please indicate so with a note when you mail your dues card. This is so we can update and mark the records correctly. This concludes my administrative announcement for the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, Moorish American National Republic. I turn it back into the hands of the Sheikh-Il. Islamo, thank you for the time, beloved.
Islam, thank you for that administrative announcement, Sheikh. Islam. And at this time, we'll open the floor once again for any other national official who might have an administrative announcement. Please start, unmute your line, state your name, where you're calling from. Islam. At this time, as it seems like we are done with that portion of business, Islam, and we will move on to the nitty-gritty of our call, which is the questions. Islam. So our conference call questions this week. Number one, and if you would like to be added to the list of people who received the questions in the email before the call, please send an email to webmaster@MoorishAmericanNationalRepublic.com with the email that you would like the question sent to, and we will add you to the list. Islam. So our first question for this evening reads, am I accurate in saying the treaty between Morocco and the United States of America states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? I'll repeat the question. It's like two parts in the question. So question number one reads, am I accurate in saying the treaty between Morocco and the United States of America states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? Islam. Please unmute your line. State your name, where you're calling from. If you'd like to participate in answering this question sent in by one of our listeners on the call. Islam. I'll repeat the question one more time. Am I accurate in saying that the treaty between Morocco and the United States states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? Islam? Don't be shy, more. Start, unmute your line. They're asking about the treaty, if it's correct that it states that the only reason Moors should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape. Does it say that in the treaty of peace and friendship between Morocco and America? And would and is this applicable once our status is corrected?
Islam.
Islam, Deputy Sheikah, you have the floor.
Islam family. This is Deputy Speaker Carla Green Ill. For the Masters of the Commonwealth, we rise into my highest heights, giving all perfect praises to Allah. Just to get the ball rolling, and I'm hoping my brothers and sisters will come on after me. In that document, I didn't actually read those words that were stated in the question. What I did see was there's 25 articles in this treaty of peace and friendship. In Article 21, it reads, if any citizen of the United States should kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place, and equal justice shall be rendered. The counsel assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make his escape, the counsel shall not be answerable for him in any manner whatever. Islam. So that was the only place that I saw in that document that it made mention to what the questioner was asking about murder or rape. And in that case, we are to be held accountable for murder. And as it says in this article, the law of the country shall take place. And if that would apply to you, not saying that what the questioner didn't ask about the nationality of the people, Moorish American, who are to be held accountable for murder and rape, but I didn't read that in this document per se. So I'm not sure which document that you're referring to that it actually does say that, but I know that that is the case. And with that, I'll return the floor for another more bias to come on with more clarification to that. Islam?
Islam. Wonderful demonstration, Deputy Sheik. Is Islam. Reading directly out of the treaty. Islam. Islam. Was somebody trying to come in? I thought I heard someone.
Can I ask what was the question again? Just Brother may obey.
Islam, brother, may obey. So the question reads, am I accurate in saying the treaty between Morocco and the United States of America states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? Islam?
Islam. I rise to give praise to Allah, honor to the Prophet, honor each and every one of you, honor what honor is due. My understanding is that the Treaty of 1787 is a treaty that Morocco created with America, but it's not a treaty that the Moorish Americans created with America. You know, the treaty, according to our understanding, that we have, you know, a friendship at hand with is Form 1099. You know, that's the Prophet, you know, letting us know that we are part and parcel of the government. That's how we business conducted through that treaty right there. Well, you more hear me?
Islam, will you finish your demonstration, good brother?
It's fine. I was finished.
All right, Islam. Thank you much, brother Mayo Bay. And yes, it's true. 1099, our prophet came with a new era of time. Islam. Anyone else? Please apply your personal mute to your phone, please, sir. Islam. Muslim Islam. Thank you much. And anyone else who would like to demonstrate on this question? Islam was try to keep your lines muted or your background noise low. Islam, because we are recording these calls. Thank you much. Anyone else would like to demonstrate on this question? Please, star, unmute your line, state your name, where you're calling from. Question reads, am I accurate in stating the treaty between Morocco and the United States of America states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? Islam. Would anyone like to demonstrate on this question? We have two wonderful demonstrations so far.
Islam. I yield.
Islam Sheikh, no problem. Thank you. I heard another Islam.
I apologize. This is Ian Baker. I'm from West Virginia Republic. I'm the guy that asked the question. I apologize. I'm still making them too complicated. The simplest way I could put it is, once you're a Moor, can you be detained legally, like with the U.S. corporation, or lawfully, like with the international courts? That's all I wanted to ask. And about the murder and rape, the only thing I could find is those are the only things you'd be detained for, no matter like where you're from, not just if you're a Moor. If you murder or rape someone, you know, will be held accountable. So that again, all I'm asking is, once you're a Moor, can you be legally or lawfully detained unless you murder or rape someone? That's the simplest way I can put it. Peace.
Peace. Islam, brother Ian. Islam. And I heard another Islam.
Islam. This is Brother Ball out of Brooklyn Republic. And what comes to my mind is a situation in which some military individuals for the American corporation had committed some murders in Afghanistan, and they were clearly wrong. And I can recall that with the diplomatic status that they had, that it was somewhat of an automatic that they were not to be charged. And so I'm under the impression that it is treaties are respected, and I would think they go beyond murder and rape. Islam.
Islam. Thank you for that demonstration, brother. Brother Barr, you said?
Yes, sir.
Islam, Brother Barr from Kings County, New York Republic, known as Brooklyn.
Islam,
Islam, Deputy Sheikis.
Islam family. This is Deputy Sheikis Norma Solomon Hill, calling out of the Bronx County in the New York Republic, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise, highest honor to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe, to our ancestors, those we know and those we do not know, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and to our illustrious Hebrew prophet in this new era of time, Noble Drew Ali, giving honors to our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bey, to all of the nobles of our grand body, to all of our officials, local and national, to our Sheikesses, Deputy Sheikesses, Sheiks, Deputy Sheiks, to all of our citizens, members, students, any guests that may be on the call. I greet all in and with Islam. This is a beautiful question. We started one way and it turned out another way. I think that the answers that were provided were all great, right, and exact. I got some learning points from it, talking points, as our grand would say. But when the brother Ian Baker came on and clarified his question, you know, the answer to me is simple. The answer is, what is charge? What is their status on paper? Are they a naturalized Moorish American Muslim, or are they still Negro, Black, and colored? Which jurisdiction are they a part of? You know, the whole difference on how a person is recognized and charged with any offense or said offense, accusable offense. And so my demonstration is short. I'll end it there. Islam and peace.
Islam,
Islam, thank you for that demonstration, Deputy Sheikis. Solomon Islam. I heard someone say Islam.
this Deputy Sheik may obey again.
All right,
Islam, brother, Deputy Sheik.
Islam, brother, Mayo Bay. Please hold for a second. Sheik Orton Bay been waiting for a couple people. Let the Sheik demonstrate, and I'll return the floor to you, inshallah. Islam, Sheik Orton Bay, you have the floor.
Islam, appreciate it, good brother, Deputy Sheik Mayo Bay Energy. Appreciate the yield, Mobile. Islam, thank you, Sheik. Islam Morris, this is your good brother, Sheik Isaiah Orton Bay, calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest heights to give all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, whom we Morris refer to as Allah. Remaining standing and sending those honors to our ancestors, known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Allah, first, second, and third form. Remaining standing and sending those honors to our national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheik, Joe Bratton Bey, all of our sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, our citizens, students, family, friends, associates. I greet you all in the universal greeting of Islam. Islam. All right, beautiful question, and thank you, our good brother Ian Baker, for coming on the floor and clarifying your question. One of our good brothers and a student in our Moorish School and Law History. Definitely appreciate the question. All right, in reference to it, so before we get to that understanding, we have to know, how does this even apply? All right. So going into the historical content. So again, Morris, we have to be familiar with the Civil War that took place. What happened, how it happened, why it happened, where it happened. We need to understand this critical thinking process so we can understand the solution, all right, the law to enforce, all right, to save the nation. So within the historical content, in dealing with the Civil War. We fought a Civil War for our freedom. Now, the Emancipation Proclamations was a 37-year mandate. All right? They had 37 years, those southern states who was in rebellion, they had 37 years to get their constitutions back in order to reflect the Reconstruction, all right, with the abolishment of involuntary labor, servitude, the slavery issue, all right. We have 1863 until 1900. This gives us our 37 years, all right. The aims of the Civil War, which was the executive will, calls for us to be naturalized, colonized, and then compensated, all right. So due to the fact that the aims of the Civil War was never fulfilled, and again, this indeed was a divine contract, all right? So due to the fact that they defaulted on the contract, they have lost all types of authority. This is why they are de facto to this day. This is why they have no laws or due process of law when it comes to what? Administering their so-called authority. Now, when we research and look into it, all courts have adopted the Administrative Procedures Act. This took place in the 1940s. Again, as Moorish Americans, we need to understand what took place in the 1940s on the national side. Again, Morris, this is why the Moorish School of Law and History is so vital, because these key elements in this chunk of history, this whole iceberg of Moorish history on the national side that was taking place in the 40s is not being taught. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I'll let our National Grand Sheik come and share. But yes, we have a Department of Justice number. We have dealt with them. All right? We have a communication, an agreement. Yeah, Morris, we're not dealing with the peace treaty. When we read the peace treaty, it can be utilized. However, we have to keep our eyes on the prize, the supreme laws of the land. We coming back to that Torah. We coming back to the Mosaic Code, the Hebrew law. This is the law that we're dealing with, but the treaty has its place. But when we read the treaty, it's talking about Moorish subject, Moors. Remember, Prophet Noble Ali brought us nationality, birthright, and divine creed. Within nationality, Moors, is two components that must be fulfilled. Jus sanguinis, jus soli, the right of blood and the right of soil. So Moorish Americans. So we have to deal with the supreme law of the lands that deal with us as Moorish Americans. Again, they defaulted on their contract, 1900. All right? Their power, their authority is gone. That union, we bringing us into their house, it's a wrap. This is why they had to devise and come up with the corruption in building this shadow government. But once we come back into the constitutional fold, there's no codes, there's no statutory laws that they can enforce. We're Moorish Americans. We're under the Prophet Noble Ali's divine authority. We're going back to her revised statutes. We're under common law. We are a body politic. They are to treat us just as they treat the Vatican. So when the Pope gets knocked up for touching a little boy, the CIA, the FBI, you don't hear none of them going to do no type of investigation, do you? Why? There's no jurisdiction. Same thing applies for the Moorish Americans under the divine authority of Prophet Noble Ali, whom have connected themselves to the divine and national movement, which is incorporated in this government. And through it, then their children will receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. So again, yes, it was an agreement that was established, but I'm going to let our leader, our National Grand Sheik, share that information if it should be shared. But again, Morris, the supreme laws of the land, 13th Amendment, 20 sections, Section 19. When all of the several states shall have abolished slavery, then and thereafter slavery or involuntary servitude. What is involuntary servitude? Involuntary is against your own will, except as a punishment for crime, shall never be established or tolerated in any of the states or territories of the United States, and they shall be forever free. Forever free. So if we living by our principles, we're doing the things to perfect perfect man, love, through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We're not going to get caught up in murder. We're not going to get caught up in rape. We're too busy cultivating the higher self to make the change that we want to see within our people. So with that, I put a period behind my statements. Yielding the floor back over to you, Sheik. Appreciate the time. Peace.
Islam. Thank you for that demonstration, Sheik Orton Bey. And we will continue. We have, I believe, we'll take one more demonstration, which is Deputy Sheik Mayo, and then we'll move on. Islam,
can you hear me?
Islam, Deputy Sheik Mayo Bey, you have the floor.
I rise to give praise to Allah, honor to His Prophet, honor to Grand Sheik Joe Bratton Bey, honor to each and every one of you, honor what honor is due. You know, I wrestled with Rome quite a few times in them courtrooms, you know, and I won. You know, I beat him like 8 times, literally. You know, and the Grand Sheik, he can testify to that. You know, he showed me some things, you know, that was a lot beneficial to me, you know, and I'm not going to talk about the agreement, you know, but I am going to talk about this, that our treaty is with our prophet and the Moorish American nation. It's not with Morocco. You know, the prophet, you know, set up a new era time, August the 1st, 2:52 p.m., 1928. And that was dealing with the Moorish American nation. You know, and the benefits you get with being a Moor is tremendous, you know, and the Grand Sheik, he can testify. You know, I beat them like 8 times, literally, Rome, in their courtroom. You know, they may come up and try and cheat sometimes, but if you stick with the prophet, you got it all. If you stick with the Grand Sheik, he's going to show you a lot of things. The Grand Sheik got a lot of good information. Follow him. Islam.
Islam, does that complete your demonstration, Deputy Sheik?
It completes my demonstration.
Islam. Thank you much for that demonstration, Deputy Sheik Mayo Bey. Yes, it is. Like I agreed with you the first time you mentioned it, and with the detail you added, excellent. It is a new era of time, and this is what we're dealing with. And wonderful demonstrations from all our brothers and sisters on the subject, Islam. Just a brief addition, I would say to Brother Ian Baker. Often we receive questions and people say, you know, when I become a Moor or if I become a Moor, please keep in mind, as was mentioned by our Sheik Orton Bey, to be a Moorish American, you got to satisfy the 2 qualifications, which is just soli and just sanguinis. So you're born a Moorish American. You're born a Moor. You are what you are when you first arrived on the planet. What the process is putting the agencies, governments, states and nations on notice, and that you know who you are. And this is why our prophet came to teach the Moorish Americans how to be themselves. This is the jewel to it, because we are running around with other people's identities, thoughts, and actions. And as our national Grand Sheik said, the man who control your actions control you. So we seek to be free by the truth, with the truth, and through the truth. Islam. And at this time, we'll move on to our second question. And then, Brother Baker, if you would like to clarify after I put it on the floor, you know, if you want to simplify it again, you can, for the purpose of saving time. But I'll just read it how it was sent. Question number 2 reads, once we are Moors with proper status, How would we be advised to behave if ever detained by law enforcement for any reason? Should we cooperate? What would happen next to us? Would the Moors and our national Grand Sheikh come to our defense? I'll read it one more time as it was sent. If Brother Baker, if you would like to simplify it again, you can. Again, how it was sent reads, once we are Moors with proper status, how would we be advised to behave if ever detained by law enforcement for any reason? Should we cooperate? What would then, subhanAllah, what would happen next to us? Would the Moors and our national Grand Sheikh come to our defense? Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Sheikh is in Islam, Brother Fowler. Brother Fowler, please yield for the sister for a moment.
True indeed, I yield. Alhamdulillah. Yes, I yield.
Alhamdulillah, thank you much. Good brother. Islam, Sheikh, you have the floor.
Islam, giving thanks, Sheikh, and giving thanks to Brother Fowler L for yielding. The teacher sister, Sheikh is Alyssa Thomas, very revising. A very good question put on the floor. I'm not going to be quick. Let me just say this. Proclaiming your nationality does not provide an invisible cloak. I just want to say that first and foremost. It doesn't provide an invisible cloak. A lot of people, a lot of police officers, they might pull you over. They might not even know what a Moorish American is, you know? And I need people to understand that there's a real danger out there dealing with our people, you know, melanated people all across the globe. There's a real danger. With that in mind, it's so very important that we communicate with our local officials, the local agencies, national officials, and our communities to educate them on who we are. So once you proclaim your nationality naturally and you become naturalized, one of the main things that you should do is to correct your documents, okay? Correct your status, correct your documents. Send a copy of these documents to the officials that need to see them, you know? It's very important that when you present your identification, it reflects who you are. And it's always important for you to always carry your nationality and identification card. That's very important. And there's so much confusion out there with different Moors and different fractions. It's people with all types of identifications. They're saying they from the Moorish this, they from the Moorish that. So for those who are familiar with the Moors, it can be very confusing. We see a lot of videos of people, you know, going back and forth with the police officers. Sometimes they don't know who is who, you know, and they're not even taking the time to figure out who is who. Let's be honest here. They're not taking the time to verify what document you have or what ID you have or what's your proper status. A lot of them are not taking the time to do that. So that with that in mind, you have to be careful and cautious. My grandmother always had a saying. She used to be like, sometimes you got to walk away. You walk away to live to see another day. And I didn't understand that until I got older, you know. For us in our temple, for the Moors in our temple, for our fraction, in this paradigm, we have a Moorish court of equity and truth, okay? And dealing with our court, I've seen documents, I bear witness, I've attested to cases pretty much being taken out of the U.S. corporation courts and their jurisdiction and then being placed in our court, and then our national officials are the one that oversees that matter, and they are the ones that, you know, do what they have to do, where you no longer have to, you know, deal with the corporation. I've seen it in the past. And the officials will oversee it, you know? And we got to understand, and the reason why I said that, because I just want to make this real clear, even with your corrective status, right? We know the system, this paper system we're dealing with. We know the people, the mindset, the heart of some of these people that's pulling our people over. Some of them don't care. They don't want to see the truth. They do not want to verify who you are. There's nothing that you or anyone can do about that. So you have to move with caution because all the words and anything you present sometimes will not help you in a dark alleyway or in a dark space where no one is there to see or to even verify what happened. We know what they're doing is illegal, it's unlawful, but it does not stop them from breaking the law. So with that being said, we have a law department. I suggest that if something happens, you just comply. Okay, they smack some cuffs on you. What I would do is, okay, whatever you got to go through, once you get out or whoever you call the National Grand Sheik, you call the members in the temple and you ask for assistance. We have to be sensible and practical, and we have to stay alive at the end of the day. You got to be alive to fight, right? So I would say contact our national officials of our temple and the Law Association, and I am more than certain that, if it's clear and concise, I don't see why you wouldn't get assistance. So with that, I'd like to say Islam and peace.
Islam?
Islam?
Yeah,
Islam. Hold on. Islam. Hold, please hold. Mail, you must hold, please. Islam, thank you for that demonstration, Sheikus. Wonderful demonstration. You are correct, and your elders were correct. Choose your battles wisely. Islam, Brother Fowler Ill, you have the floor at this time. Islam, start, unmute your line.
Islam. Thank you, Sheikh Ramayo. Thank you for all that you do, Romel, Hassai, and Hill. I'm gonna just go ahead and camelback off of what Sheikh Alyssa Thomas said in regards to speaking just now and demonstrating, and Sheikh Orton Day and all the Moors and Muslims that spoken and demonstrated. I'm gonna just put my spoke to the wheel. We're born as Moorish Americans. We just don't know it. So that's the reason why we come on this avenue that we have taken, and we're up in this paradigm learning more and more about our history and about law. Because when you drop the W off of all law and you add the H, you got Allah. So with that being said, this paradigm is a divine aspect. You know what I mean? And it has to resonate in your heart so that you can know what you're doing when you come over here. Because if you're coming over here just to basically proclaim and to be able to get out of tickets and things like that, you'll learn it. But due to the fact that it's not genuine, you're only going to learn half. And the glass is going to be half full. You need to get the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you Allah. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, when it comes to those who are pulling us over, these policy holders, you have to know how to handle them. And there has been plenty of times that our deputy chief, Thomas Muhammad Ill, came on and demonstrated and said, yo, look, these cops have certain reasons to kill you. So you must basically approach in a good tone. And if you know what you're talking about, you are what you know. You have to know what you're talking about. So just like National Grand Sheik always say, those who control your habit control you. So you must be able to control yourself and not find yourself being apprehended or being pulled over. Most of the times, these people don't know what you're pulling out. They don't know who you are, and then you'll have to be able to demonstrate in the courtroom if you study and you know how to demonstrate in the courtroom. Because we already just went over laws that are lawfully ratified, and 3 of them are called the 3 dead badges. So when you study law, you go in and you know how to perform. When you get pulled over, if you're just being harassed, you know how to ease your way out of the lion's mouth. He want to top it off. So you have to be able to ease it out. And then once you get in the court, it's showtime. must know what you know in order to put them on point, to put them in a situation where they can have a clear understanding of what stand you're on. No matter what stand you're on your stand. So you got to always stand on something, because you'll fall for anything. And with that being said, I must say to all my Moors and Muslims across the world, all my sheikesses, deputy sheiks, all of us, we must be humble in that situation if we do get apprehended or pulled over, and be able to do the right demonstration, because here it is. We are our own selves, right? And we are accountable for ourselves. So that other part of the question of, speaking to the Grand Sheik and things like that, me personally, I don't feel that if you what you know, you shouldn't need the Grand Sheik until you need the Grand Sheik. Islam. I finished my demonstration with that. Peace.
Islam on fire. Islam. We cooking with gas, as our Grand Sheik say. Our national Grand Sheik always say. Brother Mayo Bay, Islam.
Islam.
Islam. Islam. You got the floor, Brother Mayo Bay.
Praise Allah. That bro, he had a lot of fire behind him. I like how he said
it's the zeal is there. You know, that holy zeal. Islam, you got the floor, Mayo Bay.
Islam. I just wanted to say from experience, because I experienced dealing with them, and I have demonstrated, diplomatic immunity, because when you're dealing with the prophet works, it comes with a lot of benefit. And the higher you grow, the more you have an understanding how to demonstrate what you have, and your wallet, because your nationality card will change in your pocket, but your understanding has to change in order for your nationality card to change, so you definitely have to know what's going on and understand them understandings, and I had an understanding when I dealt with, different people, out of different jurisdictions, and I knew what to say, and I said that I was a part of the prophet organization, and I said it in the right words, what I was taught and what you Moors will learn, turn to come if you stick around and be a part and partial of this movement. Islam.
Islam, wonderful demonstration, brother. But that was a beautiful balance, Islam, Brother Mayo Bay. So we have beautiful demonstration. Islam, I hear the brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is Brother Rashid L.
Islam, Brother Rashid, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just to count my back on all of you. I hear that, and you are right. And it always goes back to your status. The paperwork you get from the School of Law and History, and the learning you get from the School of Law and History, and then once you've been sworn in and you get the documents, see, your real teachings begin. Just like all of you are, I have been there and I've done things before I even came here. And they always, that government always gave me the answer to what I wanted to hear. I just wanted to hear from them. And they always went back to status. They never questioned about who I was. It wasn't in the proper order. Now, being on the law team, and I always asked, what is the status? See, even though you go to the courts and you go to the government, you go to their government, and we put our documents on the record, changing our names, adding everything to it. But see, that portion of the government has it. See, your work begins when you have to send everything down, copies with that signed document, and all the way down to their police department. I'm gonna tell you how I know, because me and my family went through it. One got choked out, I got put in handcuffs, roughed up. I had everything, but see, I didn't, and I had everything on the record, but not with the department, the police itself. So I sent a lot of things to their commission. I'm going to send a lot of things to their police chief. And then the last time I went back in court, once that went down, they were saying they cleared the courtroom. They knew who I was. I don't have to tell them anything because my documents proved it. Once I gave them, I put it on the record. See, the point is, we go out here, and there are other paradigms that we have to deal with. And you know why they do that? Because I'm originally from Atlanta, and I heard a lot of Atlanta policemen say, we don't got a lot of Moors out here that use the name El Obey, but they never changed their name, and they still their birth name is still on the record. So they put us with them. He's a good friend of mine. He won't tell me everything, but I tell you this, when I gave him the nationality card and my state ID passport card, he wouldn't even tell me what it was and what was in there. All he told me, you're good. And he started asking me, told my family, Assalamu alaikum. How can I get, instead of asking me, how could he get a fez? He said, how can I get one of those hats? I said, it's not a hat. That's because when what we got, all you have to do is put it on the record and it'll demonstrate itself. But our real teachings comes from what we are doing tonight and what we do every week, and learning from each other and taking not just the good, but also bad, because we learn. The good can't even elevate without learning from the bad. You know, I think this is the most I ever talked in a week or anything, but you know, I stress you have to take in, you have to go down and walk down and put our documents into their face and make them file it. They have to. They cannot take it from you. They cannot say they won't do it. They are taught to tell you no. And what some of us do, we say we let that happen and say, okay, they won't do it. But there's a law, a federal law, tells them they refuse, they are bound to 3 years or $250,000 in jail. One or the other or both. And I've always quoted that law. Title 18, U.S.A. 1071. I think it's 1071, 1072. All you have to do that. I just found out. All you have to do is just make it, if your paperwork in the right order and it's done right, they'll take it. If it's not in the right order and they tell you no, it's not that they're refusing it. It's because we didn't put it in the right order to give it to them for to do it. And they're only going to do it if it's right. So what I have to do, I go down, I smile with them, or I go down there and I do like everything else I do. I ask. I tell them what I'm trying to do, and I ask and I tell them this is where I want to put it in. They don't want to do it, then I make them point me to the place to go. That's why every time I go to that courtroom, they looking at me, oh man, what is he coming here for now? Nothing, just trying to get some information. Judges don't told me, calm down. Calm down. You're winning. These are judges. Now, I told many people before me, if you think the judge don't know who you are, you're done. I'm not in that demonstration.
Islam. Thank you much, Brother Rashid. Thank you much, Islam. Sheikh Ortenbay, I believe you yielded before the brother came.
Islam, Sheikh. Appreciate you, beloved. Islam, Moors. Appreciate you, family. This is your good brother, Sheikh Ortenbay, ever rising to my highest heights and give all perfect praise to our mother, Father God of the universe, whom we Moors refer to as Allah, giving all honor to our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the honorable prophet, noble Jew Allah, first, second, and third form. Islam, 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 Islam to everyone on the call. When man honors man, he honors Allah. Islam, Islam, all right. Perfect commentary by everyone who spoke, especially my good sister, Sheikah Alyssa Thomas Bay, for building that perfect stone for us to continue to elaborate on and build upon. All right, so should we cooperate? Well, Morris, we have to be strategic in our thought process. This is why the prophet educated us what the higher self is and what the lower self is. Morris, this is a war. It may not seem that way because we're in this matrix and the system is in place and everyone is feel comfortable to some sort of extent. But we have to understand and know that we are still under Roman occupation. So being educated, coming into this marvelous light, like our prophet said, go to those that know law. So does the policy officer, do he know law? Or is he trained with different tactics to take you down? Is he really there to protect and serve? Or is he really there to issue out tickets to generate finance for the corporation? So we need to know who's who. So cooperate. The truth and the law is on your side. Don't go through the wasted energy of arguing with this individual. He probably just found out his wife was cheating on him. Do you want to throw gasoline on that fire to make him shoot quick? Kerr? We got to think. Choose your battles. Sometimes in war, you have to retreat. That don't mean that it's over. You retreat. You come back to the whiteboard. You come up with a plan. Us coming back to our whiteboard is letting our national officials know of an issue that their citizen is being faced with from this foreign jurisdiction. That's the beauty of being a part of this paradigm, or you have a nation behind you. However, if the nation don't know its citizens are being harassed or going through these issues, we can't come up with no solutions. So cooperate so we can come to the drawing board. Like the good sister said, if you're not here, we can't come to the drawing board. Cooperate, Morris. We see the YouTube thing, oh, look, you ain't getting it. To me, I see a nigga in the feds. What happened to love? What happened to truth? They don't know. Like Sister said, they probably don't know what a Moorish American is. We have to understand this European psychology has westernization has stretched its wings across the world. They have put their presence in many of our Asiatic nations. This stigma has been accepted and adopted just as we accepted it and adopted it. Many know, but who's going to say something until you say something? So cooperate, Morris. There's no need to put ourselves in a situation to burn the bridge. Through my experiences, being pulled over and, just communicating with them. Talk to them. This is another brother from another mother. He's just working. He thinks he has some type of authority from 9 to 5. It's okay. I understand that. Remember the lessons, Morris. Only a fool is going to argue with a fool. The wise man doubt himself often. Change is supreme. You have to adapt in certain situations. But this is what knowledge itself provides for you. It gives you that parameter to be able to conduct yourself in a way that can get you out of a situation. First principle is love, Morris. Love yourself. If you love yourself, you're not going to put yourself in any type of situation to bring harm to yourself. So cooperate. Come back, retreat. Let your national officials know what's going on. We have the only common law court, Morris. But we have to come together and we have to learn these processes so we can have things put in place so we can deal with these individuals. But it starts with self, Morris. We have to get out there and we have to let these agencies know who's who. Just you and that republic alone by yourself, starting that communication is a good stepping stone. We have to sit down. We have to get meetings with these agencies to let them know who we are, so there's no confusion. So let's be proactive instead of reacting. The reaction is what you see on YouTube. The being proactive, you're going to take steps in order to rectify situations, to let things be known about yourself and what needs to be put in place for you. But it's ways how we do that, Morris. Remember the principles. So, yeah, cooperate with these policy officers because, again, you never know what another individual is going through. And so don't be the outlet for that individual to let their anger out. Stay in peace, Morris. Travel safely and take care. Keep sane. And we'll do what we have to do in order to survive. With that, I'll put a period behind my statements. Yield the floor back to you, Sheikh. Appreciate the time. Peace.
Islamism. Beautiful demonstrations by all my brothers and sisters this evening. I'm sure the answers, inshallah, the answers were were well provided for the brother who placed the question on the floor, as well as anyone else who had those types of questions. Briefly, just a quick overview over some of the things that were mentioned. Be mindful, Moors, when we this is not a place for people to come to hide or to try to avoid from getting arrested. This is a place to come to get better, to rise to your higher self, meaning that your behavior will alone and your own thought pattern will raise you above a lot of the nonsense our other brothers and sisters go through. So if you're in the proper mindset and you moving with the right activities with your daily self, inshallah, you'll avoid a lot of the contact, and those things. Allah will keep those things away from you. As we know, at times, some things are unavoidable. So when those things happen, do like our prophet said, speak at a intelligent tone. Do like the brothers and sisters mentioned on this call, choose your battles wisely. The greatest of generals know how to pull back, when to not fight, choose their battlegrounds well. So choose yours. And then also keep in mind that you don't become a Moor. This is something that's in you. Learning these laws and these policies, that's what's going to keep you free. The truth, as our Grand Sheik always say. And we thank everyone for who called, listening, participated. And at this time, we will bring to the floor our leader, our Solicitor General, teacher, subhanAllah, master teacher and advisor, come to sprinkle plenty jewels on our field of thought, our National Grand Sheik, Joe Bratton Bey. Islam Grand Sheik, are you on the call? Please start, unmute your line.
Islam. Am I being heard okay, Mo?
Loud and clear, National Grand. You have the floor.
Thank you. Glad to hear your vibration. You're doing a beautiful demonstration with your instructions this evening, Mo. They're real well. Appreciate that. I'm sure everyone else would feel the same way. You ran the call really well, and giving everybody an opportunity, to present themselves on what they feel is correct on what the questions represent and how to respond. So I want to thank you greatly for all of that. I'm thanking everybody who participated in the calls this evening, and these calls are greatly needed for all of us so we can dialogue with one another and, get to the root of what the problem is and definitely deal with the solution, which we have. So without further ado, as always, I want to rise to my highest height and give it all my love and praise to a God who I love so dearly. And our God name is Allah, A-L-L-A-H, breaking the letters down, all love, loving all humanity. The 5 letters to Allah represents love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And we realize that when you understand how your God has loved you by sending us our prophet, we can see how blessed we really are. So I also want to give honor to all of our ancestors, those that we speak of and those that we don't. They're so much a part of us, in us, and around us. They're there for us, Lord. We just got to ask for their guidance and direction on exactly things that we need to do, or just talk to them. They're there for you. You don't see them, but they're there. And I want to give honor to all of the divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, and our most illustrious Hebrew prophet is none other than the honorable prophet Noble U.S.A, who's truly our Savior as well as our Redeemer. I know we all can attest to that. Giving honor to all of the Moorish staff and officials who I greatly appreciate for all that they have done and are doing and will continue to do. Giving honor to all of our members and all of you noble brothers and sisters who's on this call this evening. I greet you with love divine, Islam, Islam, Islam. Thank you much. Well, just in addition to what our noble brothers and sisters were saying, our sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, and members was just bringing forth their commentaries on these questions. And we'll be able on the latter questions. And there's not too much more I can say. I'll add a little bit to the questions. Well, this last question is once. Now let's look at these words now, because the words are powerful, have great meaning. We got to take our time when we read stuff. It says once. You see that word once start the sentence start off with the word once. So once we are Moors, as was stated, we already are Moors. We're just not conscious of it. No such thing as a black, negro, colored, none of that. That's man's doing. Allah didn't do that. So we are Moors by descent nature. So when it says once we are Moors, so once we become conscious and do certain things to facilitate our position in society, which we have to do pertaining to a process. And the process is, correcting your paperwork, with the proper agencies and recording your documents through the courts for them to recognize you, because our prophet said there's only but one issue, and that only comes through the connection of the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is, as we know, once you come into this great movement and you realize the significance of what the movement is and the role you must play. So by our prophet saying about the issue, and it only comes through us, the Moorish Divine and National Movement, which is incorporated into this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And what is so significant and regarding the wording is, and through it, and through it, and through it, that means this Moorish Divine and National Movement, and through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens. So you see how important this is for us to be recognized. And to correlate with the question, see, everything happens with you, the individual. You got to make a change once you become conscious about yourself and the laws that governs you. Then, so therefore, it's something you have to do to bring it to fruition, to be recognized. So we are taught, once we come into this Moorish School of Law and History, join the organization. And once you get your certificates and things of this nature from the Moorish School of Law and History, so now you'll lay a foundation, but you don't supposed to have your paperwork up in the corner somewhere getting dusty. You should be studying your paperwork, because at some point in time, people are going to ask you questions. And a lot of times you don't have papers with you or books. You got to come from the dome of your head. You got to remember certain things in order for you can talk effectively, so people can truly understand what you're all about, because they don't really know. So the spotlight is on you in order for you to teach them about you and these laws and how everything applies to you and government. This is a must. So once the Moors come through the door and obtain their proper status. And once you obtain that proper status, then with the paperwork, we always have classes after the ceremony, normally the following week or two. I think the week after the ceremony, we have a special class for all the members who've been naturalized, so we can advise them on exactly what to do with the paperwork, where to submit the paperwork, and what verbiage should be demonstrated pertaining to it to validate you, because people are going to ask. So it's incumbent upon each and every one of us who's really sincere about this to buckle down and understand what you have. Because there's so many of us going to these various other Moorish entities and talking so well and give you paperwork, you put your thumbprint here, there, give you a whole array of papers. But the average person who receives them, they don't have a clue on what they really have. Because there's so much, some of it in Latin, and certain things you just don't understand. And at that particular time, prior to you receiving the paperwork, you didn't ask the right questions. And basically because you didn't know what questions to ask. Because everything was just put out there in front of you, and you're trying to do something to get yourself out of the system, so what you hear has a good ring to it, so you gravitate to it and spend the money. And then once you get the paperwork, you don't really know how to demonstrate it. And Rome will find that out once he start talking to you about what you have. Because you're fumbling and bumbling and not realizing what to say or how to say it in order to give them understanding about who you are and what paperwork you do have. So all this is important. And then the question also made reference to the fact about we advising the membership on how to behave. Well, one of the main things that the prophet says, once you declaim your nationality and learn his divine instructions, you can't help but become a better citizen. And that means your whole character have to change and your understanding of life. Because you're only a reflection of what these lessons represent. If you have internalized the lessons, you can't help but become a better citizen. Because now you can step out the picture and look at it and see how foul you've been all your life. And basically because you didn't know this truth. The lie been told. But we have destroyed the lie because the lie is all about you knowing yourself. So then once you absorb these lessons, then your citizenship is paramount. So now you can walk tall and feel comfortable because now you truly know that you are somebody. Somebody's more so than the next person who claimed to be somebody but who's not. So your behavior is going to depend on what you know and how you demonstrate from what you know. You know, now you see a whole lot of Moors. I see them in the street. You know, they smoking cigarettes with their feathers on, wearing their pants down below their butt still, but yet they supposed to be Moors, you know. But see, once you get these teachings, your pants got to come up. And now you have the will to choose whether you want to smoke cigarettes or whatever you're doing. But then you got to step out the picture and look at yourself to see what is it doing to your health. Some people just don't care. They want to do what they want to do. But if you want to clean your temple, clean your mind, then you got to do the right thing. And that's live the law accordingly. But so many of us don't want to do that. You know, see, we straddling the fence. Got the teachings of the prophet on one side, got your carnal self on the other side. Then that little small devilish voice said, oh, don't worry about this over here. Do thus and so. Let's go ahead and drink. Let's go to the bar and cut up, whatever. You know, but you know better. You're supposed to know better. Some of us do and some of us don't. But in the end, you're going to get shame and disappointment for the rewards of your labor if you don't do the right thing, because it's going to eventually catch up with you. So, yeah, well, advising somebody about their behavior is sitting a person down and getting them to understand the teachings of the prophet. Because the Circle 7, the 101 Questions, the Warning, the Moorish Literature, these books have been divinely inspired for us to learn certain things about ourselves. And see, nothing's going to change until you make the change, but in order for you to change, you've got to have some different information in order for you to change. So the prophet has come to us to give us the different information so now he can get us to thinking right as opposed to thinking wrong. And you can't help but start thinking in a more positive way because now you see yourself in a better light. And you're better than what they betray us to be. So, yeah, we'll sit you down and advise you if a spotlight is on you where your behavior is off course, then quite naturally we're going to advise you on how to behave. But that's something you should be learning yourself. And then you got to look at your children because they only a reflection of you. So if your children see you doing a whole lot of damnable things, then they're going to do it too. So what can you say to them? If you're doing it and they're watching you, they growing up watching you. So you're going to be cussing and fussing. So eventually you can best believe at some point in time they're going to start cussing and fussing too. And that's why people say, oh, what kind of home did he come out of or she? Parents doing this, parents doing that, and the children coming up in society acting the same way. You know, I call it the Negro degree. You know, you don't want to be a Negro in the fez or a turban. You're supposed to represent. You better represent because people watching you. So another part of the question was, if we're ever detained by law enforcement for any reason, or as the sheiks and the sheikesses was demonstrating, brothers and sisters were demonstrating tonight about being detained, well, first of all, you don't want to do anything unlawful in order for you to be detained. But if at some point in time it occurs and you should cooperate with law enforcement. As the prophet teaches, go to those that know law and speak in intelligent tones. So a lot of these officers that come upon you, a lot of them don't know a lot of things that they portray to know. But then it depends on how you come at them coming out your mouth. Whether you want to get resistance or whether you want to get an ear to hear from them. It all depends on what you say and do in order for them to respond the way they do. So if anything occurs to any one of our members, as was stated, we have a law counsel. And trusting, you don't put yourself in that kind of predicament that you would need the law counsel, but things happen. There's always extenuating circumstances, and things do happen. So if it does, you can pick up the phone and call our law team. We have a staff. We have a process. So you just have to get to the right people and deal with the process that they have in place to establish their involvement pertaining to whatever given situation that you may have incurred. So you're not out there by yourself, so you don't have to worry about that one. But then, too, what we have seen over the years, a lot of folks, they come into the movement and they get a little knowledge and they branch off and they want to do their own thing, Okay, I mean, that's your right to do, But so many of us, we come into the movement and somebody asks, you part of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Yeah. But see, the thing is, no, you just went through it. You came in for a reason and a season, then you left. Then soon you get in some trouble, then you're going to pick up the phone and call headquarters to see what can be done to assist you. And we ain't seen or heard from you in 2 or 3 years. So therefore, you're not a faithful more at all. But according to the lessons, you still got to have an ear to hear. Because if you're in adversity, then we have to assist you. Sister in trouble, we got to forsake her not. But the thing is, you still got to be conscious within yourself and have a good heart in order for you to even want to talk to somebody in the Lord Council about something that you've done. Maybe it was done erroneously. Maybe it was something that was alleged. I don't know. But the thing is, they're going to give you a ticket or whatever situation that may arise. You're going to have to get some paperwork to substantiate what actions has been taking place. So quite naturally, you're going to bring that to us so we can review everything, and then we'll see how we can get involved to eliminate the situation. That's what we do. But the main thing is that to let you know you're not by yourself. Don't never think that. And try not to do things that put a bad light on yourself as well as this movement, because people have done that also. But the law is what it is, and we do what we do. You in a house of love, so we try to project that all the time. But so many people take it for granted, and they still going to do whatever they feel is best to do. But nevertheless, we are here for you. So remember that one. And, that basically answered that particular question. Yeah, I mean, I'm always going to be here for the membership, and our officers will be there also. So, but just stay on a good foot, Mo, that's all. Just stay high and don't live low. Don't put yourself in a low position. Because the way the law is that before you can reach your highest depth, you got to go to your lowest depth. Before you can reach your highest height, now you got to go low. So now you're rising back up, reaching for the highest life of society, dealing with you as an individual. Because now you've been bust upside the head, bounced around, trampled on or whatever, and you realize something is not right, but your life is what you make it. And you want to make things better. So what is such a better place to come to learn certain things about your life so you can live a better life? Because it's all about knowing you. So trusting that, stemming from what everybody else has said, what little bit I just added to it, you're going to be all right. Just have faith and deal with the hope that you have around you. So never think, as I said, that you're by yourself. That's one of the problems that a lot of us do or fall into. You do something that instead of you letting your family know, because this is a family, and things occur, and you out there by yourself trying to do things, paperwork, etc., by yourself, and then Rome will see that. When they see you out there by yourself, they're going to pick you apart. But when you got a government or organization behind you, things change. They can't just deal with you any old kind of way. So that's why we are so blessed by the best to be in a position that we are to assist our members when things like this occur. So, okay.
Islam. You ready for the next question, Grand Chief?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Islam. So the first question from tonight reads, am I accurate in saying the treaty between Morocco and the United States of America states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Would and is this applicable once our status is corrected? And I'm sure you were aware and heard the brother came on and clarified further. He just would like to know if Moors can be detained in general for anything besides murder or rape. Islam.
Okay. Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Well, let's pick this this question apart. Okay, when the brother said, is it accurate, or was he accurate in saying the treaty between Morocco and the United States states the only reason we should be detained legally or lawfully would be for murder or rape? Well, I have the treaty, but I haven't seen anything in it that says that. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just saying what I've read. I haven't seen anything saying that you can be detained only and lawfully for murder or rape. Now, that's not in the treaty. That's in the Justice Department file number. I think Sheik Ortenberg had brought that up. That's where that is. But if it is in the treaty, can you, whoever posed the question, can you read that to us? I haven't seen that one. But like I said, I could be wrong. But whoever posed Islam?
Yeah, they brought some more clarification to it, and I apologize if I didn't choose my words more carefully. I'll remember that next time. But that's all I wanted to know was, could you be detained, even if it is a crime punishable by law, for anything other than murder or rape? And I guess that's the question too. Is murder or rape, like, what would happen if somebody was in that circumstance?
I think it's Article 6. My apologies.
But yeah, I didn't read it anywhere in the treaty. I just was looking up stuff online, and I read it somewhere where they mentioned it with that treaty. Islam.
Islam, well, thank you, brother. Thank you. So
You're welcome.
Somebody says in Article, what's in Article 6? I heard somebody say it's in Article 6.
Islam, can you hear me, Grand Sheik?
Oh, okay, okay, brother Mayo. But yeah, Mo, you say it's in Article 6. What's in Article?
I think it's Article 6, where it says that a Moor cannot be detained unless for murder or other thing. I read it some years ago. I can't really bring it to my doubting like that, but I think it was in Article 6. I know it was something in Article 6 that a Moor that highlighted to me in light, and I think that was it, if I'm correct. I may be wrong. My apologies if I'm wrong.
And that was in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship?
If I know it's something in the Treaty of Peace and Friendship that Moorish Americans try to say that deal with Moors, and I'm not for sure if that's it. I know it was something in Article 6. It may be. I may be wrong.
Islam?
Islam, go ahead.
May I be heard?
Who's speaking?
Corey Weststone from the Florida Republic, Corey Antoine Weststone Bay, Pardon Self. Subhanallah. Yes, that's the 1787 Peace and Friendship Treaty, Article 6. It says, if any Moor shall bring citizens of the United States or the effects of His Majesty citizenship, that's the wrong one when I'm driving. Prize citizens of America or effects and bring them into any of the ports, they shall be immediately released, or they will be considered. Oh, that's the wrong one. But in reference to that, I know I'm looking at the treaty right now, but I'm also traveling because I'm working. But it stipulates that if any Moor shall harm any U.S. citizen, and that's in the 1787 treaty. I'm just trying to find it right now. Article 20 stipulates, it's 21. If a citizen of the United States shall kill or wound a Moor, or on the contrary, if a Moor shall kill or wound a citizen of the United States, the law of the country shall take place and equal justice shall be rendered. The consul assisting at the trial, and if any delinquent shall make their escape, the counsel shall not be answerable for him in any matter whatsoever. Islam, I yield the floor.
Okay, Islam, thank you, Brother Corey. Basically, all right. Well, just like an immigrant coming here from another country, and I think somebody had posed that question, and they commit a crime, it could be murder or rape. But what happens? The embassy get involved, and then they deport that individual. That's what they normally do. And then getting back to what you just made reference to, Brother Corey. Now, I have a certified copy, but I don't have the treaty with me. I got it in one of my briefcases, but I have the treaty. I'm going to have to look at what you're talking about. But when it comes down to us, but see, now you got to understand what's going on with this particular question. Because now, the only thing that I know that specifies just murder and rape that they have jurisdiction is the Justice Department file number that Grand Chief Richard Dingwell set up with J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI and the government and the military. It's a file number. And see, this is what is so unfortunate for us as a collective. Because, see, the Moors then galvanized around the mission that Grand Chief Richardson Dingwell and his brother Timothy did with the military, a reference to us and everything pertaining to our status and how we are recognized. So I have the resurrection book. And see, we are under certain numbers in the Justice Department pertaining to the only right that the government would have on a Moor would be murder and rape, only when we give them the jurisdiction for it. Now, this is, like I said, all this is on our Justice Department file number. It's a BM number. It's on some of our documents. It's on our ID card for our law enforcement. You know, when they have the badges, our IDs have that number to it and other documents. But let me just share this with you all so y'all can see the significance of what took place. It's not just the Justice Department file number. It was the Social Security, that Form 7003 OH account number. That form was specifically set up for us to make the changes in the system. We weren't supposed to be paying for none of this stuff. It was set up back in the 40s for us to use that particular form to make the changes in this government. So let me share this, and this is from Grand Chief Timothy Dingwell's book. Know yourself and not somebody else, or be yourself and not somebody else. This is his book, and they met with the military officials, certain generals back in the early 40s, to rectify our status in this government. And they did it. But the Moors didn't capitalize on it. They just let it evaporate. Didn't get involved. But this is what took place. I'm reading on page 20, and I'm going to go to the second paragraph down. It says, when we were sent to the office by the state headquarters of Selective Service over Maryland because, well, no, let me just go ahead and read the first paragraph so you can really see the essence of what this is. The subject matter is, he has nationalized or naturalization. That was a misprint. I was with him when he first printed these books, and I was going through it with him and told me he had some typos in it. He was supposed to correct it. It should have been naturalization, or nationalization. That's how it should have been. But he didn't make the correction. I mean, what's the sense of saying nationalize or naturalization? But anyway, now check out what the verbiage is now. It says the word nationalize or naturalization here in America will be discussed in this pamphlet as to why it is necessary. And remember, it should be naturalization, not nationalization. It's a brief clarification on how these words were developed is this. These words were programmed on our minds in 1942 by an official, a major in the National Headquarters, Selective Service System. This headquarters was located on 25th 21st and C Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. at that time. We were sent to that office by the state headquarters of Selective Service over Maryland because his local board made a ruling that we Moorish people were Negro, blacks, colored, and Ethiopians. The state director said to change that ruling, a proclamation had to be handed down from National Headquarters of Selective Service System of Washington, D.C. Then it says, we were sent to confer with General Hersey, but the general was not in. 3 years later, we did confer with the general, and at that time, we were referred to a major. And after Major heard our complaints, he told us that our complaints were deeper than he could dream. We asked the major, did he thoroughly understand our problem, and if he did, make us know it. So the major said, when the Germans took over Czechoslovakia, the Germans nationalized the conquered people according to the German laws. Now, see, that's why you can't say, well, you're nationalizing anybody. That's government to government. So just like what he's saying, when Germany went into Poland, they nationalized everything, the people, the resources, everything. That's government to government. But the Moors are here saying, no, you got to be nationalized. How in the world does that work like that? So anyway, it says, when America conquered you people, America made slaves out of you people. Then he said, tell Drew Ali to send into this headquarters all available proof of you people being Moorish Americans. We showed the major Form 1099. And the Form 1099 is the prophet's authority. You see that on the back of your 101 questionnaire. That's not the actual form that was recorded per se, because there's other verbiage dealing with the actual Form 1099. There's certain symbols there that's not on the back of your 101 questionnaire. But nevertheless, it's still the verbiage is basically the same, but there's some additional information that you don't see on that particular book. But nevertheless, then it says, tell Drew Ali to send into this headquarters all available proof of the people being Moorish Americans. We showed the major Form 1099 and the 6th Act of the law inside. So the major said, this is it. Leave it with me. And what we told the major, we had no orders to leave the book, which was our authority, Form 1099. Now, before I go further now, they dealing with the military. Why the military? Well, see, when you deal with the Emancipation Proclamation, which was a divine contract agreement which supersedes all contract, whether it was land or sea, Emancipation Proclamation supersedes all of it because it deals with your freedom. Everything outside of that is slavery. We corporate slaves. So anyway, we got to understand the authority that Noble Drali had by them utilizing his authority to substantiate how we as a collective going to be recognized as a nation. And these brothers did some wonderful, great work that most of the people are unfamiliar with, don't have a clue on what they did and the reasons why. And then going back to the military, now remember when President Lincoln issued his executive order, he said the executive, the military, and naval authority thereof to do what first? recognize us. So now you see how these brothers was going to the government, which they were in the military, but they just was, I'll put it this way, Grand Chief Richard Dingle, he just didn't meet with the military officials. He met with the school board. He met with motor vehicles and Social Security. And this was back in 1939 about us having our own form to solidify our recognition in this government. But most of us don't know. So anyway, continuing. So the major said, it says, we showed the major Form 1099 the 6 acts of the law. And the major said, this is it. Leave it with me, and I will run it into Chicago and get the attachments. So the major's going to take that information, contact Chicago, and get all the attachments to confirm the authority of Noble Drew Ali and what the Dingle brother was using to establish the Moorish National Bureau of Rights and Statistics so we can be recognized under our own form process that we was given to the government for them to recognize our position in society. So the major said, tell Drew Ali to send it into this headquarters, and we will send it over to the Justice Department and make law out of it. And you can talk it all you want. So the question is, did that happen? Did the major send it into the Justice Department? Yes, he did. Now, I have a letter that our prophet in third form, Richard Dingle, gave me when he was on this missionary work dealing with all this government stuff. And the letter had the Justice Department file number in it. That's the first time I've seen it. And I asked the prophet about it. He explained it to me. I still have the letter. And so this letter, he sent to President Eisenhower, explaining our position and what he wanted the president to do pertaining to it. So let me continue. So when he said they sent over to the Justice Department and make law out of it, and we can talk it all we want. So then the major called up the state headquarters in Maryland and authorized our change. So that the change was to get this black Negro colored off of our records, change our status so we can be recognized as human beings, not as chattel property. So continuing. So then the major said, in time, this headquarters will make all the slaves Moorish Americans. And this is government talking there, Justice Department. Then he says, it will take days, weeks, months, and years. However, he vowed that you people will be nationalized. This is naturalized, but it should have been naturalized. So see, the law of freedom dealt with naturalization, not nationalization, but naturalization. That's the component. That's the component of Hebrew law that they use to establish our freedom. So then it says, we asked the major to put it in writing. The major did it. He gave us a slip, and on the slip it stated, write to national headquarters and submit all the available proof why the slaves are Moorish Americans. And the major was talking with us with such a deep with such deep wisdom. I imagine in my mind that he was a Jesus Christ. Well, you know how that is when the great white father speaks, we're going to listen. That's where he's going with that one. He's the Jesus Christ because our people love Jesus, so whatever Jesus said, we're going to do. So then it says, he told them that the slaves will only hear Jesus Christ. Well, when the great white father speaks, we listen. And then we ask him, are you a Jesus Christ? So then the major said that the major said, yes, I am their Jesus Christ. I stated to the major, if you are, or this headquarters is a Jesus Christ, then please make me know it. Then I'll know that the slaves will hear you or this headquarters. The major said, all right, and this is how he's coming. Let them know that this is all about the man that controls your habits, control you. Here we go. So the major says, don't I feed the slaves, clothe them? They sleep in my houses, ride on my streetcars, buses, trains, spend my money, work on my jobs, walk on my streets. Don't I send the slaves welfare checks? This is the government. We have laws. Well, like I said, y'all, the man that controls your habits controls you. So everything that he's saying that they do is corporate. When it comes down to what? The buses, the trains, the money, the jobs, the streets. They control it all because everything that you see that's a habit of ours is coming from a corporation. From the top to the bottom, it's still corporate. So, then he says, this is the government. We have laws. We make everyone obey here in America. And by the way, and he's telling them now, he said, by the way, how did you get here? We replied to the major on the bus. So the major said, that was my bus you rode on, and you can't get out of this building until I sign your slip. Do you think the black man will hear me, etc.? I replied to the major, yes, sir. The major said, you damn right. They will hear me. And if they don't, we will turn hell for them. Tell the Juali to send the information to this headquarters, and this headquarters will straighten out the subject. But it will take some time. So now, they go back. They said they went back to the prophet Juali and waited 2 years. And this is the reincarnated prophet, Gibbonzil, that they dealing with now. Because he charged them to do this process. So we went back to Juali and waited 2 years for orders. So in 1944, the orders were given. When we went back to the headquarters, that major wasn't there. He had he had programmed another major. And this major told us he knows the old nigger story. This headquarters don't know how to make the change on how to change a slave to a man. Now, this is headquarters telling the moles now that they don't know how to make the change from a slave to a man. So the major said, he asked him a very pertinent question. He said, what form what form are they using? Put it that way. Question. So they presented the major the form they used, which was Form OAAN 7003, Federal Security Agent. The major looked at the form and said, the government changed your name all right. Go back and send this in, and others who have cooperated with you in making this change and what you want. And we will take the matter up from there on. So when I made reference earlier that the other agencies that they had to meet with was Motor Vehicle, Social Security, and the school board. So then it says, we sent the information to the major, and in reply, we received a communication from General Hersey's assistant director. Enclosed with some communications from him, the assistant director later arranged for a conference for us to meet the general, and I as I have already stated in this briefing, the General turned us over to the Department of Defense. And in later years, a file number 1-17 was from that civilian aid office on the subject. See now, that file number was established for Timothy Dingle, file number 1-17. That was his file number. And that came later after his brother. They don't tell you how many years later, just in later years, a file number 1-17 was established for him. So I have communications of the file that Dingle has established on file number 5-39, letters that he wrote and responses from the general and the colonel and Brother Evansdale, who was the liaison from the military to the movement. We met with him on 3 occasions in D.C. because he was living there, and he confirmed everything that I'm speaking of right now. So I just want to let you know about this file number. Now, in the file number, you got certain letters. I'll just highlight certain things. The BM represents. Now this is just the file number that's on some of your documents, but I had them take it off because so many people was copying, cutting and pasting our stuff. So we had to more so start securing things. But nevertheless, it is what it is. This is etched in stone anyway. So the BM represents budget and management. The dollar sign was not a dollar sign. Many people think it is, but it's not. But anyway, that represents the Treasury. Then you got HR, meaning House Resolution. Then the 1WD, which is the War Department. Then the other numbers represent other agencies. But in some of the verbiage, at the last point of clarity about that file number, it says that the only jurisdiction that the government have on anymore is murder and rape. Now, back in the latter 80s and early 90s when we was meeting with the Black Caucus, I have a letter. Anyway, John Connors was the spearman. He spearheaded the meetings, and we had related to him about the file number, and he wrote a letter to the Justice Department, which I have. I don't have it with me right now, but I have it. I have it in my file in my car in another briefcase. From time to time I might read it. But anyway, he wrote the Justice Department to have them send him the file. Now, after that, we had no more communication with John Conyers. And see, he played the game with the American people. Now, he knew it wasn't about reparations. It was about compensation. Because anything in the Constitution talk about compensation, the Proclamation talk about compensation, the Hebrew law talks about compensation. So where does this reparations come from? See, he played the game. Instead of him bringing up the fact about the compensation, he played the game about reparations. And to this day, that was back in the 80s, and to this day, black folks ain't going to get a dime for nothing because you're black. They're going to play us and spin us all around in the Congress. Every so often, then somebody bring up, oh, we need reparations. This one got paid, that one got paid. But see, all these people who got paid, they have a national descent, and you don't. That's the reason why you can't get anything, because you don't have a national descent name to bring you back into the human family. Everybody else are Japanese. He got a national descent name. Who else was it? The so-called American Indians, they still haven't got all that they're supposed to be getting because they still federal property, whether quiet as it kept. Because if they had autonomy, as they said, then all the land that the government took from them, then they supposed to be getting it back. And they can get it back. But they got to come through this door like everyone else. Why do you think the Bible says that the citizens of all free national governments, according to their national constitution, are all one family, bearing one family, one free national name? So all of these so-called Indians, these American Indians, they need to establish a free national name because we all are the same people. We one nation, different tribes within the nation. Because when you talk to these so-called Indian folks, they're going to give you a tribal name, you know, their affiliation with the tribe, or the Mohawk, Cheyenne, or whatever. They tribal names. They tribal names. That's not the origin of the people. All the people in this Western Hemisphere is of Moorish descent. See, they got to claim their nationality too. And what so many of us don't know, that these Indian tribes was up under the Emancipation Proclamation. We got the treaty of the Chickasaw and the Chickasaw and the Chickasaw. We had that treaty. You got the proclamations all up in it. The 40 acres and the mule, the citizenship, the compensate, all of it is in it. See, they need to come this way too and get out from under this man. That's how they can get from under him and deal with what it's supposed to be, because all that land that the government has usurped, all that's part of the promised land. You know, they got to come home too. Everybody, this applies to all of us here. That's why the Bureau was established, for all the people to proclaim their nationality, so we can be registered as one nation of people. Because the law says a nation consists of three things: its territory, its people, and its laws. So look at the people. You got black folks. You got Indians. You got people saying they're indigenous or native born. So who are these people? Are they your brothers and sisters? Yes, they are. How do you know? Because man said nature doesn't change. That's how you know. Look at us. We a melting pot. We look like everybody. Some of our people look like Chinese. Some look like Europeans, Islanders. We all Asiatic people. But here in this West, the Moors had that empire, East and West, and this was the far West that they didn't know nothing about. And anytime you have an empire, there's many nations in it. So all these nations here that's in the West is of Moorish descent. All of us. Rome knows that. I have a book called The History of the United States. And this is the only book that I've read. I'm sure there's others out there probably that reference that we are Asiatics. They talk about the Asiatic people of the North, Western Hemisphere, and all that stuff. Asiatic. First book I ever read that made reference to Asiatic, the word Asiatic. But they explained that the people here are Asiatics. Just like the prophet says, our race is Asiatic. It's not Asian, it's Asiatic. So they know. So I'm just saying the significance of all what this is. And then, see, that's why, back in the day, I'm trying to revisit this. See, back in the day, one of the main things I would advise the officers, I said, when you in any state, you got to meet with the police department, the mayor, and the governor, to let them know who you are. Because, see, we're distinguished from all these other Moorish groups. We are. And even when the members up in New York, the government had to subpoena me to be the expert defense witness for the Miami 7. And they had me down there on a 2-year span, 3 times within the 2 years. First time it was, I think it was 10 days. Second day, no, the first time was 14 days. Second time, 10 days. Last time, 7 days. I mean, they paid me for my air flight and all that stuff. But I told the Moors, I said, we got to send a letter to the governor and have a sit down so we can explain ourselves to him. Because, see, the Moors were doing so many damnable things, leaning the judges, all kind of stuff they was doing. And Rome was really getting pissed. Because even when the FBI came to meet with us, they told us they were going to start locking these Moors up. So they were violating the law when they were with these fake tags and disrespecting law officials, etc. But they put us on the top shelf. They were talking us about all these other Moors and what they was going to be doing. See, my thing is that if the Moors would just wake up and realize that we are a distinguished group of people. We are. We ain't like nobody else. And see, when we sent the letter to the governor, when I had made Sheik Kareem Carnegie Bay, the Moors up there. I'd asked them, I said, look, y'all got to meet with the police department, the governor, the mayor, you know. So anyway, they sent the letter, but the letter was rejected. So when it got back to me, I said, okay, well, I'm going to deal with this one. So I called the governor's office and talked to Governor Cuomo's scheduling secretary. Told her who I was and what my call was for. She said, yeah, Mr. Bear, I have your letter here, and I understand. And she said, yeah, but you asking for a meeting, but this is New York, and you are headquartered in Baltimore, Maryland. I said, yeah, absolutely. I said, but our membership is scattered all across North America. I said, our articles reflect that we are to work in conjunction with the governor of each state, the state of Maryland, etc., for this big change, this naturalization process pertaining to our people. And I said some other things. So then after I explained myself, she said, okay, Mr. Bell, I truly understand. I said, because even though we're headquartered in Baltimore, but our membership is in New York. Some is in New York. And dealing with that particular information, that's why we want to have a sit-down with the governor to express our concerns about our membership here in New York. So she said, okay, I understand. So then she set the meeting up. She told me to do a second request. I've still got the information from her that she sent. And the meeting was set up. And I told the Moses I couldn't be with them, but I told them, I said, man, they ain't never seen this paperwork before. But they're going to be in awe of it. Sure enough, the report I got, they said, the chief told me, said, yeah, Grant, everything you said came to pass. The governor's aide came out and said they said that they'd never seen no paperwork like it. But they checked it, and it was authenticated and all this and that. And he told them, okay, anytime y'all have problems in New York, y'all see me. But if you got anything on the federal side, you got to go federal. But New York, I'm your man. And we had things going in the school system, too. But all that was dropped. You see what I'm saying? And that's so unfortunate because we was on a good roll at that particular time. But see, this is what I mean by studying and understanding what this is. See, so many of us don't have a clue, don't realize that this information that you all take so granted is a high priority. It's high science. It's high science. Now, who do you know talk about the Emancipation Proclamation? Who do you know talk about your nationality and birthright coming through this policy of freedom? Who do you know bringing in the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections? Who do you know talking this way? We the only ones talking like this throughout the whole nation. Ain't nobody else talking this kind of tone? Nobody but us. That's what makes us distinguished. And our articles of incorporation is very profound. So when they read and see documents to support what we say, it's a wrap. But see, that's why so many of us who don't have faith in what you have, it's pitiful. You don't know how powerful you are. You really don't. Don't have a clue. Because you really haven't been out there in front of Rome and these officials demonstrating this policy. You haven't. So if you haven't demonstrated, then what do you know about it? You can just talk it all day long. Anybody can talk about anything. But the question is, how do you demonstrate what you're talking about in order for people to understand you? So we advise that this is what needs to be done. We got to communicate back with these different agencies again. But everything has changed so drastically now, it's more difficult. I mean, because before we could go to D.C. and don't even have an appointment, go into the building and set an appointment while we're there, you know, and meet with the people that very day. But everything changed now. Got to go through a whole lot of maze now in order to just get a visual with anybody. But nevertheless, the law hasn't changed, so therefore you step out the picture and you strategize and find another way to get in the door. because you can get in the door. Just got to think about what to do. So, what we do and how we do it is a must that we meet with these top officials so they can understand who we are, because, see, they got us clumped together, and with all these Moors doing a lot of crazy stuff, as soon as you see Moorish Science Temple of America, then they're going to put us all together. And the brothers that was up in Massachusetts dealing with riding on the streets, with the weapons and stuff, see, they could have been all right if they would have contacted law enforcement prior to them getting on the highway. They would have been all right. But, see, they didn't do it right. They didn't do it right. See, so many of the Moors, they just want to diss Rome. They don't want to have no communication with them, because even when the feds came to meet with us, they said, yeah, Brad, man, you're the only one who really, was that we met with, because all the other Moors, they didn't want to even talk to us at all. I talked to any and everybody, because I know what this is, and I made them aware that I know what it is, and made them aware that they better know what it is. This ain't no joke. This is the unseen. See, everybody's throwing a brick and hiding their hands, but you can't throw the brick and hide nothing with this one. Oh, no, that ain't going to happen. And you got to let these officials know that you know what you know. And they respect that. They don't have no law, high or low, that supersedes this power and freedom, y'all. I don't care what they say. They can say whatever they want to say. Just start asking them certain questions, especially about the citizenship. And once you can nullify the citizenship under the 14th Amendment, then everything up under the 14th Amendment is dead also. That's why you got 3 dead badges, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. They are considered 3 dead badges of law. They have no validity. But the money is there. So that's what keep the wheels rolling, because the money. So at any rate, what we do and how we do it is always the best. It's always more positive, because, see, you got to interact with these officials in order for them to truly respect what you're doing and who you are. So, that's something we're going to have to get back to. We got to revisit a lot of things and see what's good about it, that especially when you have a paper trail that's already been acknowledged by certain officials and whatnot. It makes things a little bit more easier for you, because you got a paper trail, because you can always, rely on what was already established. Things will be a whole lot easier for you. So that's where we are. That's what we got to do. So basically, my noble brother, I think that should satisfy the question, I believe. Well, the other thing, too, let me just say this real quick. Now, State Department, Homeland Security, military, Social Security, the Congress, the courts. They have our paper. They have our paper trail. They do. And see what is so significant? They've signed off of it in a positive way, more so than any other Moorish entity out there, because there's no other Moorish entity out there that's talking this policy of freedom. We talk about what the Moors should be doing and what applies to the Moor, but they ain't talking about no freedom as a collective. Well, the Moors this, the Moors that. Okay, so my question to any Moor group, whoever you may be, what law do you use to effectuate your freedom? Because it's all about being free or being a slave. So if slavery lasted until 1865, then why are we still being corporate slaves today? Something wrong with the picture. That's why you got to backtrack and retrospect, find out what happened, So when you look at your past, you see how you're dealing with, with the present. So when you combine them both, then you can see better in your future. Because you know what you did in the past that was wrong. You finalize it to make it better in the present so you will have a better life in the future. It's all about knowing. That's what this great movement is all about, knowing yourself. When you know yourself, people, everything falls into place because you're a part of everything that's in and out. But at some point in time, you got to realize the change got to come within you. It starts with you. But at least you have an exactness of what process you need to utilize to make it happen. We got that. And there's so much more. But we need help. All you beautiful minds out there, we need help. We need help. And see, that's why, we did this proposal called Office of Moorish Affairs. And we were supposed to have an Office of Moorish Affairs in each state, y'all, to deal with the Moorish business for our people, for us. That's a good thing. One day it will manifest as long as we keep our minds sharp and always acknowledge each other and keep love within our hearts. We're going to be all right. But we falter. Allah going to punish us big time because we know better, but yet we didn't do. So, Noble Sheikh, I'll put a period behind my conversation, Mo.
Islam, Grand Sheikh. Thank you for all those wonderful, wise words, all those jewels you just shared with all of us. I'm pretty sure everyone on the call and anyone who will listen to the recording will be fully appreciative of your wisdom, Islam.
Islam, Mo. Yep. I mean, I'm telling you, it's Mo. I mean, we got it all. We just got to know how to use it. Prophet put it all out there for us. He did. Anytime he said, I've given you everything there, free yourself. You say, free yourself. So the question is, people, how are we going to free ourselves if we don't know the laws of freedom to free ourselves? If you don't have the law, how the way are you going to free yourself? Because everything is governed by law. But anyway, Mo, thank you much, love you much, and y'all keep at it. Allah got this because we've been blessed by the best. Always remember that. Islam, Moses, Islam, Islam. Appreciate you much. And love divine, I end my conversation today. Thank you much. Peace, Mo. Thank you, Mo.
Peace, Grand Sheikh. Love you much, and we thank you for all you do and will do and continue to do. Islam.
Thank you, Mo. Likewise, Mo.
Peace. So at this time, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you all for Islam, subhanAllah, Moors and Moabites. We thank you all for joining us on the call and spending your Sunday evening with us as we go through this information to make ourselves better citizens. As was stated, this is our Prophet's mission, to uplift us and make ourselves better citizens. So we better to ourselves and better to the world. Islam. So at this time, we will close our meeting the same way we begin. That's with prayer. So all those who can, please rise in your Moorish American posture, facing the east with your heels touching, feet spread apart at a 45-degree angle with your arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, making a 90-degree angle with your elbow. 2 fingers erecting together on your right hand, your 4 fingers and your thumb erecting together on your left as we state our Moorish American prayer, which goes, Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Go in peace, Moors. Be safe, be sane, and we will hear you again, inshallah, next week. The same number, same link, 7:30 p.m. for our National Town Hall Conference call. Islam, peace, peace, peace.